Welcome to Charts This Week. My name's David Linton. I run Updata, and each week we do Charts This Week on a Monday morning to help our clients get the most from their systems in the week ahead. And we try to focus on the charts this week and what we think is going to happen, and that should help you in your systems and what charts you should be looking at. It goes out on a Monday morning to clients first thing, so we hope you're still finding it helpful. All the comments we're receiving from you suggest that are. And last week you recall we felt that it would be a good week for markets, and indeed it was. We'll start with stock markets. This is really our sentiment indicator, the S&P 500 index. How are financial markets looking for the week ahead? And last week we felt they were looking like turning and looking positive. We had a good week in the S&P. Really from a low of around the 1070s, 1080s, we're now back above 1100, 1117 was the close on Friday. So we can see on the hourly chart that we were below the cloud all the way through May, and just last week we've had a cross on the hourly chart. So a bit of short-term strength in markets, and that's quite interesting. Of course, we've got the daily cloud, which we've fallen below. So we're medium to longer term, several weeks, months. We still feel the market's under pressure and being in the bearish territory, but now we're through the 60-minute chart in the cloud. It's looking quite bullish. So possibly another good week on markets, and straight away we go to the very short-term chart. This is a 1-minute point and figure chart, which is where we derive our price targets from. You just push Shift-T on your systems and it will give you the price targets. And remember, with a 1-minute chart, this is changing quite quickly, so you do need to be aware that these targets can reverse as the price action develops. But at the moment we have upside targets. We had a target given last Tuesday to 1143, 1165 as a target. So we've got quite a lot of upside targets here, suggesting that the market could go further this week. But watch for new downside targets emerging. The short-term uptrend is bullish. So quite key that. And then if we look at the 60-minute, the euro, here we see the euro chart. This is the daily candlestick. We had quite a good recovery week on the euro last week, but we are still, of course, in the medium term, pretty bearish as we're below the cloud. And in fact, we've extended the cloud forward. I cover this in chapter 13 of my book, Cloud Charts, but here we see that the cloud is flattening on the basis of the price staying at these lows and hanging here. Of course, this will change, but the key thing is that we've got to really get back above this 128, 130 mark on the euro. We're at 123.90 this morning, so we've got quite a lot of work to do before we would be bullish. And in fact, the point and figure targets of 97 and 102 are still very much in place on the euro. But here we see last week we had the cross just at the end of the week before last. Bullish territory. If you want to know when this short-term run in the euro's over, put a line on your support line on your 60-minute cloud. You can set an alert. Just right-hand click and set an alert, and you'll be told when this trend is over. But at the moment, we do have quite a bullish picture for the euro. This is the short-term 1-minute chart. Remember, these targets are changing quite as the new price action comes in. These targets are still in place, of course, but new targets will emerge as we get new price action. And this morning we have had a 123 downside target, so we might be just seeing a very short-term trend change. Upside targets 125, 126.70, 127.20, but really at the moment we're waiting for the new price action to emerge. So we're pretty neutral on what might happen with the euro this week. And if we look at sterling, in fact, this is sterling to the dollar, we see that unlike the euro, we are really starting to nudge the cloud on the 60-minute chart on sterling versus the dollar, and so really quite key, this 148.88 level. We're just shy of that this morning, but we may well see a cloud cross, which would be an indication of a buy signal, and in fact against the dollar on sterling. And in fact, here we see we have had targets that have been met. We've got an upside target of 150, 160, 149.90. So this 150 mark on the sterling may well break this week, so we may see sterling back above 150, and that's a pretty key psychologically important level for sterling. And here we see the euro sterling rate. So this is sterling versus the euro. 120, we did get as high as 121.75, and when we went below the cloud, showing the euro outperforming sterling last week. But here we've got the cloud flattening again with the cloud extended, so we do suspect this week that we will come back through and sterling will have a stronger week again than the euro. So quite key. Oil this morning at 78.43, so that's we're moving back up into the high 70s, and many of you will know that we've been quite bearish in the medium term on oil. We feel this uptrend that we've seen over the last year is broken. Let me talk you through the Dow theory here. Remember, the Dow theory is just simply, are people prepared to pay higher prices than they were previously, or are they selling? And here we see the higher lows kicking in all the time and the higher highs. Those of you who've done my course will know in the training course that this is the most important part really of technical analysis, the Dow theory, and in my book in fact I cover it as the first chapter. It's really the place to start with technical analysis, and the fact that we were seeing higher highs was this bullish action, and then suddenly in May-June time we saw a lower low for the first time in quite a long time, a lower low. So what we now expect to see is a lower high and then a lower low, heralding the new downtrend. So we still are reluctant to believe that oil will make a new high in the coming months. We can't rule it out completely, of course, but we don't see it. And in fact, quite interesting, this top here, we had resistance tested twice at this sort of 87 level. So really quite a hard level for oil to get back through. And if we come onto the cloud chart, we do see this effect of coming below the cloud, and here we are nudging the cloud on the price again, but on the lagging line we've got to get above $85. So oil still has a lot of work to do to turn bullish again on this chart. Nevertheless, the 60-minute cloud chart does show that we did have the cross a couple of weeks ago, and oil has been in this uptrend again. You can set on your system, put the trend line on the base of the cloud, set an alert, and it will keep going ad infinitum. You'll get an alert when this cloud is crossed, and this cloud will be crossed at some point, so we need to keep an eye on that. The interesting thing here is the 1 minute targets. Here we see we've had upside target 78.60, which has been met. 78 we've been met. We've got a new target of 81, so maybe oil will have another bullish week. Watch these 1 minute charts for any new downside targets to emerge this week. It's quite key. Of course, I can't finish this week without commenting about BP. A lot of people read the report last week. Over 1,000 people looked at the BP report, and here we see the 60-minute chart on BP. At no time have we crossed on this 60-minute chart. This is our roadmap for when BP recovers, and again it's flattening out at the moment, so a move through sort of 360 in the next couple of weeks would be possibly the first bullish sign on BP. But this morning we're back down 3.5%, so really what's quite key is, will we make new lows? And our target for BP is that we will be back to the sort of 280 level, so we've got a lot longer to go yet. We have to wait for that target to emerge. But this is the 1% point and figure chart, downside target of 273. We think BP still hasn't found its bottom, and of course we want to see that 60-minute chart cross before we can be certain that the bottom has been put in. That's it for this week. Until next week, happy charting. See you then.